Yeah, Kaloyim, Yahweh, Basham, Yahweh Shai, Basham, Rakakwadash, right? Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds preaching truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To the sister in Akwaf, listen in silence. Shalom. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson. This is Biden's aide who traveled to UN summit with president tested positive for the CV19, right? So an aide to U.S. President Joe Biden has tested positive for after traveling overseas with the commander in chief, right? So surely she had to be vaccinated. I mean, this is the thing that you're mandating around the world. Shouldn't that save you? Right? Then you got some type of hoax with this other thing was then this has got to be a hoax, right? Unvaccinated Aaron Rodgers tested positive for the CV19 will miss Packers game versus Chief, right? So surely Biden's aid helper, since he's mandating, since a lot of people lost their jobs over not being vaccinated, so we know that you could still give it and get it whether you're fully vaccinated or not, or whatever you want to call it, the juice, right? The snake bite, whatever you want to call it. So if you're fully snake bitten, right, or fully juiced, you could still catch it, you could still give it. So what would be the difference? You tell me the difference. There's no difference. But I think this is all a hoax right here. He so-called he faked it, and they trying to use a public figure with it. You know? So they're going to use the so-called backup quarterback. Yeah. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, right? And to make mandates is an unrighteous thing, right? Especially in the way and the fashion that they're doing it, and that right grievousness which they have proscribed, and these are things that they have proscribed which are not even laws. These mandates is not part of the law. It's not a federal law, it's not a state law. It's just something that they're just coming out saying this is just what it is. It's not a law. It's something they're prescribing, right? Right? And what they're doing by prescribing it is going to certain businesses saying, look, we're going to fine you if you don't do this, or we're going to shut down your business, or you're not following our, our so-called agenda, we won't give you any funding or whatever, however it goes. But it's not law, but it's being pushed out like it's law. To turn aside the needy from justice and right, and a just man, right? When the Lord says, He made the healings from the things that come from the earth, or medicine comes from the earth, roughly paraphrasing, right? Medicine comes from the earth. You don't need chemicals, right? Something made up to so-called heal you, right? And you have your regular immune system. So, because it was herd immunity, well, you should have that already. But this is them turning aside the needy from judgment, right? Because it's your right to have a job, to pay for your bills that you owe, and feed your children, and have the life that you need, right? Because they're even talking about looking at your money. If $600 is moved from your account to another account, or $600 is put there, which is a way to not only are you monitor if you go out to eat right now, or you go to a concert, because your phone is already basically got the RFID chip in it. So they're having you have your V pass, right, within your phone, which already has the chip in your phone. So you're basically already, it's like the elders always say, that it's that they do it in increments. They do it, it's progression. They never just throw it on to you fast, right? So yeah, the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor, right? And it's your right to be able to make money, to take care of your family, and of my people, that the widows may be their their prey, right? And that's going to happen, right? Using the school system, the children, using it as a prey, maybe even using the women to get the men to get it. Oh, they did that, huh? The Juvenile song, max that thing up, right? You want to get sex, girl? Max that thing up. See, you try to use the, it's crazy, and that they may rob the fatherless, and right, these bankers, which banks like Wells Fargo was about to be bankrupt, but all of a sudden the CV19 hit, and now they're in more than $1 billion surplus. They're like in a $2 to $3 billion surplus when they were about to be bankrupt. They were about to file for Chapter 11 or chapter whatever it is called, but they were about to go into bankruptcy, right? And a lot of these banks were. And what will ye do in the day of visitation, right? Because the Lord is coming back through his son, Yahweh Shai, right? He who delivers, but he also is going to what? What did the Lord say? He's the what? The destroyer of Gentiles, right? So how is God going to save the whole world? And in the desolation which shall come from far, right? Which is going to be them ICBM missiles, but the chariots too. Whom will ye flee for help? And where will ye leave your glory, right? And your glory, Esau, Edom, is going to be in the dust, right? It's going to be turned into a desert after it burns for, which is going to seem like forever. But when the burning stops burning, it's just going to be, desert creatures that's here in Babylon the Great, which is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, but also the daughter of Babylon, right? Because you follow those customs of Babylon. Yeah. It says Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe unto them that devise iniquity. Iniquity is what? Sin on top of sin, right? With no concern, right? Because the Lord said in Isaiah, he said that they didn't consider their end. And that's what Esau's not doing. He's not considering his end. He's not considering the end of what? Of what was it? Babylon, the end of the Medes and the Persians, the end of Greece or whatever, you know what I mean? The end of Rome at the time, but this is the second leg of Rome, so I mean, I guess it just got to go down too, but they're not considering it, right? But yeah, they work evil upon their beds when it is morning. When the morning is light, and right, that's going into the Illuminati, right? Yeah, so that's going into Illuminati. So let's go right here just real quick. It's Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. It says, how are thus fallen from heaven, right? Which heaven is talking about earth. Earth is also a heaven. You got earth that's a heaven. You got the sky that's a heaven, or the sky and what you call, the so-called universe, which is a heaven. And then you got the third heaven, which is where the Lord is at, or some people call it the fourth dimension, right? So it's talking about heaven. It's talking about a rulership while they're on earth. They're ruling the earth. How are thus fallen from heaven? Oh, Lucifer going into what? Light bearer, right? Going into them being able to what when the Lord said they're wise as Daniel, right? They know a certain thing, and basically going into them being the Illuminati, they're ruling, and they know what's going on. So, son of the morning, which is their rulership, right? How are thus cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations, right? In fact, I'm gonna have to go to that real quick. Yeah, so this is Ezekiel 28:3. Behold, which means feast your eyes upon, look, pay attention, to observe. Thus art wiser than Daniel, which is talking about Esau, Edom. He's wiser than Daniel, the self-proclaimed so-called white man that's ruling today. There is no secret that they can hide from thee, right? Right? But it's not talking about the Most High, because there's secrets that the Most High can hide from them. Why? Because the word of Yahweh has to be discerned, and so it's hidden. But that's why the Lord has gave the understanding to his prophets, right? Lord willing, I'm one of them, and Lord keeps opening my understanding, Lord willing, and so far he has been doing that, but keep on doing it, and but yeah, that goes into them being an Illuminati. They're wise as Daniel. They know some things. So you have to come back right here. So just to give you that, how are thus fallen from heaven, which is their rulership, O Lucifer, right? Son of the morning, how are thus cut down to the ground? Because basically, like I said, they're the Illuminati, but they're going to be cut down, right? Which did weaken the nations. So let's go right here to prove that is it's right there. See, Isaiah 14:12, and we'll go to hit Lucifer, so it's not a man under the ground with a red pitchfork.
Strong's H 1966. Haleo.
Haleo, right? Lucifer, light bearer, right? Shining one, son of the morning, which just means they're in their rulership, because it says the same thing about Yahweh Shai when he comes back. He is thy morning star. What's a morning star? It's a star. It's like the sun, right? It's shining. It's brightness. It's understanding. They're wise as Daniel, right? Which basically what it goes into. See if that shows us something else. To shine. To shine of God's favor, right? And they did. God put favor on them to rule over us, to put us into slavery, to be a whooping stick to the Lord. But the Lord is gonna cut them down, right? Right? To praise, to boast, and that's what they did. Remember? They praised and boast. Oh, look, we got them. They finally fell. We got these Israelites. They're down. You know what I mean? And they praised and boast over us, right? And they praised and boast that they had the nations, and they even praised and boast during this the lockdown, the first one last year. They had Oprah, who said she don't believe in God, right? Singing "He Got the Whole World." Well, who was the he? It's talking about Lucifer, which really is going into the Illuminati, right? The light bearers, them that's ruling right now, and upon their beds, and they're writing these grievous laws, because Satan himself, the spiritual demon Satan, is not coming here to write grievous laws, right? For thus has said in thy heart, right? Lob, which is mind, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above, right? Which what is his throne? His rulership upon the earth, above the stars of Yahweh, right? Which is outer space, but it's also you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. You are the stars of Yahweh, and will sit also above the mount of the congregation, which are you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You're the congregation of the Lord in the sides of the north, which is what? North America. Yeah, so it says Micah chapter 2, verse 1, woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, like I said, in their rulership, right? Because when the international bankers, they're ruling, they're not worried about Like I said, their bills, they're not worried about stress. They're not worried about anything. They got more than what hearts could wish, right? The scriptures tell you that. When the morning is light, they practice it. What are they practicing? Um, Praying to Satan, enchantments. They're practicing how to, because you heard of Jade Helm. I don't know if you heard of Jade Helm, but the Jade Helm was them to practice for riots and for the uproars of the people, right? Because it's a thing called what is it called? The King Alfred plan or Rex 84. These are things that's intertwined with that. They were always had planned to destroy you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, right? And they practiced that, and it practiced it because it is in the power of their hand, right? And they're in the rulership of this world at this moment, right? Since we still right here in Micah 2:1, let's see what it means when the morning. Let's see what morning. Baba Kwa, Baba, I think it's Baba Kwa is morning. Baba Kwa is morning, right? It says morning, end of night, the coming of the daylight, the coming of the sun. See if they got something better. To seek, inquire, consider, reflect. See what it says. Cleave, to open, kindred, to the root. Open the root. A rising of light. Oh, was it what's this one say right here? To look at the contemplate with the mind, right? And in order to rule something, you got to have a certain mindset, right? Yeah, so this is Jeremiah chapter 4 verse 7. The lion has come up out of his thicket, right? Which is talking about Yahweh Shai. He came as a lamb the first time, but he's coming back as a roaring lion, right? And the destroyer, right? The destroyer of Gentiles, right? So there ain't no kumbaya moment because he's coming to destroy the Gentiles, which means nations, right? Which means all these other nations. So the Lord is not coming back for every nation, or It don't matter who you are. You just got to love the Lord and just believe is on his way. He's on his way to destroy, because what? Babylon, right? Or Lucifer, or Egypt, right, is going to be cut down, right? Because it is America spiritually Babylon, and spiritually Sodom and Egypt, right? The destroyer of Gentiles on his way. He is gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate, right? And the land that's going to be desolate is definitely America. And the cities shall be laid waste without inhabitation, without habitants, right? And that's the only place that's going to be like that is what? America, right? Going to be just desert creatures left here, right? It's Revelation chapter 5, verse 5. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, which means feast your eyes upon, look, pay attention. The lion, which is talking about Yahushua, because it says the lion is coming from his thicket, the destroyer of Gentiles, so he's coming back. The Lion of Judah, the root of David, right, which actually his lineage, right, goes into gene or genos, root, goes into sperm, his actual son, have prevailed to open the book and loosen the seven seals thereof, right, which now we have an understanding. The prophecies is going out, and yes, it's Revelation chapter 17, verse 12. And the 10 horns, right, which symbolizes power, right, rulership, which is the Edomites, right. Esau is the end of this world, Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, which thus saw us, Salakia, are 10 kingdoms which have received no kingdom as of yet, right? Because they're trying to push for the new world order, and it hasn't happened yet. But receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast, right? So they have this so-called power with, NATO, EU, America, and they basically got the grips on the world, because as you can see, the whole world is locked down behind the CV-19, right? And then they got this controlled opposition, which doesn't make sense. These have one mind, which is going into Babylon, which is America, Babylon, right? Because they try to do that, and America's known as the melting pot, because America really, Britain, the so-called Jewish from Britain really actually runs everything, right? Because America's really still just a providence of Britain, right? Because it was a young girl who's 12 years old who found out that every president was related to the King of England. So that's still that lineage still all descends from England, or right? So, and we know that presidents are just puppets. So, matter of fact, let me see. I guess the king was called John Lackland, right?
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, William Howard Taft, and President Barack Obama. One young girl traced them all back to one common ancestor.
They're all cousins and all grandsons of John Lackland.
It's the first Anne d'Avignon discovered that all the U.S. presidents, except Martin Van Buren, are related to the former King of England, John Lackland Plantagenet, signer of the Magna Carta in
which, goes back to those 10, the 10 kingdoms was France, Germany, Spain, England, Portugal, basically those, and there's these certain families that were there. You got the 10 horns, basically. So, yeah. And the 10 horns, which thus saw the 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast, which the beast is what? Europe, right? Because the whore is America. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, right? Which the beast gave their power to what? America, right? Because that's why, because the world currency of the world used to be from England, but they gave that up to put America as the front face. Because really, England run the world basically, but America's the front face to that, right? These shall make war with the Lamb, which is Yahushua, because he was a lamb, but he's coming back as a lion, but it's still referring to him as a lamb in this scripture. With the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called, which is going to be the elect. And who's going to be with him? The elect. And those that are with him, which is the elect, they that are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. Right? That's dealing with the elect. Not all nations, and the elect are all Israelites. Whether they're the northern kingdom or the southern kingdom, whether they look white, whether they look Chinese, whether they look whatever, whoever the elect is, they shall be with them, and they are called, chosen, and faithful. It says, this is Mark chapter 3. I'm going to go verse 23. And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, right? Because the understanding of this book is not for everybody, right? How can Satan cast out Satan? Right? Because they were saying he had this, by Beelzebub, he was casting out spirits. But how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. So you got them with the so-called unvaccinated or un-icky vicky against those who have the icky vicky, and then this person who has the vaccination is sick and got the got the goddamn so-called invisible enemy. But this guy who's playing football, who so-called lied and caught it, so now he don't have it because he don't have the icky vicky because he caught the thing. So how would you know the difference? You're divided. It doesn't make sense. And if a house, right? And Esau, this is the house of Esau, right? This is your rulership. When the morning is light, right? You practice wickedness in your bed, right? And your wickedness, that's your house, the house of Esau. If the house of Esau be divided, but if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan, which is Esau, which is our enemy, because Satan just means adversary, so the Lord was prophesying. And if Satan, which is our adversary, which is Esau, Edom, rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand he cannot stand but have an end. Hey, and that end is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Hey, call Loyim Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Call Loyim Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakal Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and has come back to the fold. Shalom to Sister Akwaf, listen in silence. Shalom and death to America.